Ladies and gentlemen, we have an extraordinary guest with us today. She's a force to be reckoned with in the world of entertainment, a true Renaissance woman with a heart as big as her talent. Born and raised on the iconic streets of Manhattan's Upper East Side, our guest today is a London Academy graduate with a Bachelor of Arts in Drama, and she's taken the world by storm ever since, from her early beginnings gracing screens at the tender age of 3, to mastering the keys of the piano and violin. Her passion for the arts has no bounds. With an impressive academic journey that spans continents, including studies at the Toronto Film School, at Marymount College and Tarrytown, New York, as well as the vibrant heart of London, England, where she discovered her profound love for classical literature and theater. That's just the tip of the iceberg. No contest with being a phenomenal actress, she's also a licensed Red Cross instructor, a published writer, and a certified basic Spanish teacher. She's a maestro in the world of music with a foundation laid in the Fiorello LaGuardia High School of Music and Art and a deep dive into image consulting at the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. But wait, she's not just a multi-talented individual, she's a dedicated advocate for change. Her production company launched in 2017, which is a testament to her unwavering commitment to shifting narratives and giving voices to marginalized communities on screen. From her standout performances in projects like Law and Order, Shaft, The Sopranos, to her inspiring work with Create Now, and her instrumental role in John Henry's Redwood's final theatrical masterpiece. Lynette's impact on the world of entertainment is immeasurable. And if that weren't enough, she currently is in the creative trenches, collaborating with broadcasters and executives across Canada, US, and South Africa on groundbreaking series and films that promise to captivate audiences of all ages. With a remarkable repertoire boasting over 75 acting credits on screen and counting, her body of work is a testament to her unparalleled talent and dedication to the craft. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the phenomenal Lynette Ware. Lynette, thank you so much for your time and welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, Chris. A couple of things come to mind. Just a prayer when you mentioned Shaft, that Richard Roundtree, our original Shaft, has just passed away. So much love and grace to him. Today is October 26th, Thursday, in our world of recording this, 2023. So I just want to say much love and blessings to the original. I was in the second film installation, and so much love to him and his family, and his contributions are profound. But I'm going to do something different, Chris. You just said welcome and thank you. I'm going to do something different because I mentioned the date, right? We know what's going on in the world, so bear with me.
Yes.
This is for us. This is for us.
We on an ocean line, babe. We on an ocean line, babe. This is a God dream. This is a God dream. Yeah, yeah. This is everything. Yeah. Deliver us serenity.
Okay, so that's just an intro to the mood that I'm in today. Just to say that, you know, there's a lot of war going on globally. And that song was what I woke up to today. It's a beautiful spiritual reminder that despite what's going on outside of ourselves, we need to really hone in and zone in on the things that sustain us. So I'm happy to be here. I could have let that song go on and on and on. I think I've listened to it on 20 times repeat this morning. It just was the moment because I woke up to some news happening out of Maine in the States, and we're in the middle of 2 wars, Chris, so I'm a little, to the chest about wanting to talk about me right now, but I'm very excited to be here, and as long as we kind of merge this conversation with my journey and yours alongside what's happening in the world, I am happy to be here. So over to you, but I just wanted to say that's where my head space is this great day, my good friend.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us. And as we talk about your journey, I'd love to dive into it with you. You started performing at the age of 3. So what drew you into this world of entertainment at such a young age?
I just think that it's natural, Chris. I think that artists and performers are born performers. I don't think you can tell somebody that they should be drawn to something. I don't think you can feed that into someone. So at a very young age, I was performing for sure. My family could see me standing on top of tables and telling stories and reading poetry and citing, lyrics. And they were like, oh yeah, this person needs to entertain. And so I've been doing that for as long as I can remember, for sure, for sure. And yeah, I got put into a commercial at a very young age because it was a natural sort of introduction by the family that I would be good at this. And once I got the bug, yeah, it was over. Yeah.
So how did that help understand your growth, like from being 3 all the way up, and knowing that you were meant for that stage, knowing that, that was the pursuit for you? How did that help shape who you are?
No, I love that question. I mean, I think I have to say and tell you that it was a very early inner knowing. That's the one thing that I can definitively say has always defined me. I have always known what I wanted to do, what I was good at, what I needed to do to get to where I am. So that's sort of the trajectory of how I've always processed this passion that we artists talk about. What do you do with that passion? Well, I've always known I've had to educate myself as to what industry it is that I intend to go into. Was it singing? Was it dancing? Was it drama? Was it music? Well, I started in music. So music very much informed me in my earliest years. I played, classical piano and violin and was in a music group signed to MCA Records. So I sing, but I don't sang. There's a difference. I went to music and art high school, and the people that I went to high school with sang and ended up on Broadway. So there's a big difference between being a singer and a sanger. So there's that, knowing what you can and cannot do. This is all important. These are all important steps that help you along the path of actually aligning and fine-tuning what you truly should be doing with your life. And I think knowing yourself is key and paramount to then deciding what to do to align with your own gifts, really, because I could go on and on about what that means, but it's going to look differently for all of us, right? Why does a little boy or a little girl want to play with a tool versus a musical instrument versus a paintbrush versus a doctor's, uniform with a stethoscope? That's a great word that I decided to throw in there on a live. Like, why did I do that to my brain? But you get the point. More coffee, please. But the point is, Chris, you get it, right? So we can't teach that, right? You're drawn to things at a very young age, and that's it.
So you actually mentioned something that was really unique, sing versus sang, and some of our viewers and listeners might actually not know that. Could you describe in your own, your own opinion, what do you mean by some people can sing and some people can sang?
Okay, honey, let me break it down, Chris. I'm going to get very New York mama on you, okay? So the definition of being able to sing is being able to carry a tune, to sound pleasant when you are, enjoying a song in the shower or with your friends. It's like, happy birthday to you. Yeah, that's very nice. That's very pleasant, Chris. But to sing, honey, is a whole other planet. I'm talking Beyonce. I'm talking, Shaka Khan. I'm talking Whitney. I'm talking Broadway. There is a vocal ability with people who can sing that are not regular folks. Okay. So there are very few people that can hit bars off of the charts. I would put Mariah in there as well. Miss Carrie, we love you. So the bottom line is there are very few people that can do that. Barbara Streisand is actually in that category for me as well. There are very few people. Actually, the queen of being able to really sing and blow, somebody who you wouldn't look at and say she can sing, but who can, is Christina Aguilera.
Oh.
People like that, to me, because, I have my, personal favorites, which is the first 3 to 4 that I rolled out. But then I have to be fair. There's other people too, who you may look at and say, well, they can't sing. There are people who can sing, and there are people who can sing. And the latter group of people that I threw in were people that, you may not think could actually blow chords, and they will literally, shake you up with their talent, because they're like, okay, I heard that note. Wow. Like, that doesn't come from, that's an instrument, right? That's their vocal power and instrument. So that's the difference, Chris. That's the difference in my world.
No, I appreciate that insight. Thank you. And it's certainly not everyone knows the terminology within the industry. So whenever I hear something like that, I'm like, oh, if you could elaborate, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
But when we go back
Well,
to your,
that's in certain communities, right, Chris? So it's like, growing up in New York City when we had voguing before Madonna made it popular, basically stole it. Sorry, I could say that. Everybody knows it. That's the difference. It's just certain terminology. I'm glad you're laughing because these things go public and then I regret them later. I'm like, I said that on camera and I knew I was being recorded, but whatever. She knows it too. She's admitted it. So she borrowed it from the kids, right? And the kids were us in New York in the community, and particularly the gay community. They were voguing. We were voguing, having outdoor parties on the piers of New York City and Manhattan. And it was before it was a thing. So there are certain terms that are in certain communities that are not going to be like well known until they're, copped it and made into records, and there you go. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about kids, we talk about that youth, what do you think you would have pursued if it wasn't acting? If performing wasn't for you, if you could go back and say, hey, we're going to follow a different path completely, what was that interest for young Lynette?
Easily sociology or something having to do with, I love the study of people. I love people. So for me, that's another part of my personality that I would have loved to pursue, but except, and I've said this many times, I'm too weepy. I care too much. I would cry as I'm trying to help someone, right? I'd be that, that doctor in Sopranos, who's way too involved in her client's life to the point where she's like taking him home for dinner and, nothing else, but, there you go. So, I chose the right path. I chose the right path, Chris. Yeah. But I really care about people, and I really care about, who we are as a society and how we're doing and how well we are being with one another. And so I would always, I'm a helper. I'm a giver. So I would choose psychology, sociology, some sort of human behavior and how we can be better as humans. And I think, as I said earlier in the conversation when I played the song, we need to find out how to get along better on this planet. We're not doing well in that department. So I would love to sort of like help people. I would love to sit every person who is not happy with somebody on the opposite end of the spectrum and just be like, okay, can we talk here? Like, what is it really that you're upset with? Because we're all just trying to do our best. Can we just get along, right? God bless Rodney King for saying that. It's the truth.
Well, there's nothing wrong with crying together. If you're helping somebody and they're starting to cry, hey, cry with them. There's nothing wrong with that.
Feels
I think
so
that would
good.
be a
No,
really
you're
good,
right.
neat support system of going to some form of therapy and you both cry together. I think
I
it would
love
just
that, Chris.
normalize it.
I love that. Normalizing it. Exactly. Yeah. And it's a great release. It's a great physiological release. Like you feel better when you cry. So yeah, I mean, but I don't know how much help I would be as I'm crying with my clients. But no, that's the answer. I would certainly love to be a psychologist or or sociologist if I could. If it weren't acting for sure or producing.
When you talk about society and you certainly have this passion for it, a lot of people understand that acting and being in the entertainment industry, it comes with an even longer list of rejection.
Oh, yeah.
And people who aren't in the industry just don't understand why we go through it. Can you share with us how do you overcome that rejection? But more importantly, what keeps you moving forward? People just don't understand why we beat ourselves up about this.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's a good one, right, Chris? I mean, that's so good because I always say to young, eager beaver, 19-year-olds coming out of school, ready to be all over the map and kick butt, and some of them will right out of the gate and others will take 20, 30 years. It's that passion I talked about earlier. It's honoring it by doing everything in your power to make sure it's sustained so that you're not attached to any of the outcomes of what you put out there. And what I mean by that is every audition, I close the door when it's done. I literally get an offer or a job and it's just like, what audition was that? That took a long time to get there. It's very hard when you're, really digging deep, hitting it out of the park on every audition and being like, did I get the call? Did I get the call? That was in my 20s. I'm done with those days. As I aged and realized that that wasn't helpful to me, that I needed to sustain my creativity and my joy in the work. And the work is the audition. For anyone listening, the work is the audition. You need to let it go when the audition's over and not be attached to the outcome. So that's the first part of the answer that I would share with you. The second part is really making sure that everything outside of that audition, because you're talking about rejection. So obviously when you get the job, that's a different deal. But the rejection part, when you have done the audition and you've closed the door and you've told yourself, I cannot think about this anymore. It's not personal. It's, I did my best. Let it go. Don't beat yourself up about what you could have done, should have done, didn't do, would have, should have, could have. It doesn't work. Let it go. Do everything in your power to let it go is what I would say. And I'm not kidding you when I tell you, when I get an offer, it's usually a week or two later, or even 3, or even a month, which is rare, but usually 2 to 3 weeks. I literally have to go back and ask myself, what job did I audition for that role? Or what was that part? Because I'm not thinking about it. I'm not attached. I've moved on to the next one. I'm reading a book. I'm at a baseball game. I'm watching the Raptors last night. I'm going in to see the Yankees in New York. Like, I'm not kidding. You have to live your life and not be thinking about, oh my gosh, did they like me? Like, who cares? Who cares? You don't like everybody. So get over it, right? Like, you're not going to like everybody. Not everybody's going to like me. Not everybody's going to like my audition. Not everybody's going to care that I look like the lead and should have got the part and was the best person for the part. Because guess what? The 11th person who has to make the decision, even if the first 10 like you, can say no. And you won't get the part. So when you say, why do we do this to ourselves? It's because we love it. We love it. We love it. We love it. It's not that we love the abuse. We love the work. We love the work. We love what we do. We love performing. We love connecting. We love acting. We love writing. We love directing. We love dreaming. We love being. We love growing. Come on. We love becoming. Okay. Shout out to Michelle Obama. Becoming, right? We are never done with our growth. We're always becoming. We're always being better and achieving more, right? So every rejection makes us better. I always say, right? Like, it gives you another belt buckle on your pants. You're like, okay, I didn't get that one. That's the, that's the millionth one I didn't get. Yay, now I'm on to the next, box of rejections. It's all good, because the ones that you do get, Chris, you know this, they're sweet. They're yummy. They're for you. Nobody else should have had them but you. They're intended. They're aligned. And they're so much sweeter because you earned it.
Yep.
And they wanted you. Tell me, and I always make a dating analogy. Tell me, viewers, what date did you ever want to go on where you knew they didn't like you or were interested in you? You don't want to be there. So don't care about the jobs you didn't get, because if they didn't want you, you didn't want to go to that dinner anyway.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Come on. I don't want to go out with somebody who doesn't think I'm fabulous, because I want to believe that you're fabulous. I want to work with people who I think are fabulous, and I want to learn from them. And if they're sitting there like, oh, I guess she was the only one we could bring on, then I'm sorry, I'm not learning.
Well, she showed up. It must be meant to be.
Must be meant to be. I mean, I guess. Well, I guess do your thing, person who we really didn't want here, but you're here. No, you don't want that. You want, I know I'm joking, but you want it to be a fulfilling, rewarding experience. And you want to be learning something different each time, Chris, right? You really want this opportunity to say, wow, that was enjoyable. That was rewarding. That was fulfilling. That was enriching. But, more to that for me, Chris, at this stage in my career, to be honest, and I'll end here, is to say, I have to be learning something different. I have to be challenged in a new way. If I've done the same part for even 6 months, I'm bored. I've said no to roles because I'm like, I've done that. It was great. I don't want to do that part anymore. She's great. I mean, I remember one year, I swear to you, Chris, I did 7 to 8 Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of, health insurance secretary of it was insane. And I was like, okay, I'm starting to become that person. And I'm like, I have to say no to this type of role and this type of woman, because yes, I can do her. Yes, the industry's starting to see me as that type, but now I want to play the downtrodden, beaten down soul who has had no opportunity. I want to know what that feels like to get into a person like that. And then I just came alive again. I was like, yes, man, this is so not how the industry sees me. This is where I want to go next. And it's so much more rewarding, and I bring so much more to it, and I get so much more from it. Every moment of a scene like that in a character you've never played is new and like juicy, right? It's like a new fruit you've never bitten into. It's just so much better.
So I mean, like when we talk about this typecasting, and you're constantly going out for the same bits, Has there been a role in your career so far that has been challenging that you just had to really connect emotionally? Outside
Yeah,
of, the Secretary of States and these pieces, what's
yeah,
been that most emotionally challenging role for you so far?
yeah. The biggest one was Girl with Bella Thorne. That was a big one. And there's one coming out with MGM that isn't in the theaters yet, and it's called Flint Strong, and it's based on a true story. And so having to play someone who's alive and well, I've never had to do that before. And I did a ton of research. There's a ton of video on the lead boxer whose story the film is based on, but there's very little on her coach who I played. I mean,
Okay.
it's no secret right now. It'll come out next year, but yeah, that was a dig deep moment, Chris, because she's someone who exists and not even in the past, she's someone that's still around. So fortunately, I was lucky to work with folks who actually know this person. So when I brought my work to the table, they were already like, wow, they saw that the prep work was there and that the commitment was there. And they said that I would make her proud. So we'll see. And they gave me some tips and such, but the voice was there. The personality was there. It was like, I didn't have to work too hard on that, but I dug in different ways, as I was telling you earlier, that really excited me, that I had never had to do before. Real physical stuff, like different type of, right, performance, sort of like, the role we got out of Austin Butler for Elvis. I mean, that's just other level, right, commitment. And I'm not saying my work was like his at all. I'm saying that's an example of what excites me about the next stage of work. If it's that level of commitment and difficulty and challenge, I'm all for it. Bring it on. I want that part. I want that next role that makes me, really dig into there and into that territory. Yeah.
Would you say that this last project that we're speaking about, would that be your most memorable production to date, or is there something else that stands out that you would say, hey, that challenged me and that one's going to stick with me forever?
No, I mean, well, I mean, it's kind of the one I just told you. That, I mean, honestly, the Mickey Rourke
Right.
Bella Thorne project was the first woman that I played who was really downtrodden. When people look at me or get to know me, they don't assume that I've had a hard life. So I haven't had that opportunity. So I kind of have to show them. It reminds me of, Halle Berry had that problem. She was a model first. I've never been a model, but she was a model before she auditioned for Spike Lee's role,
Right.
where he first cast her as a crack addict. And she had to really work to say, hey, like, excuse me, I'm an actor here, consider me for this part. And in Monster, when she, won her Oscar, those are good examples of people who went against type, right?
Right.
And I say people, meaning Austin and she both had to kind of stretch. Yeah, so I mean, people didn't think he could sing, right? And he did. He performed his own vocals for the part. So I mean, I think those are the two biggest parts that I think, would be the most visible, that I can answer to, your question and say, yeah, these are the parts that were the most unlike who I am, that I had to dig the deepest. I'm sure there are others that I could kind of go to, but those are two features. And again, they're the most kind of like renowned, right? Because they reach a wider audience than my television shows, and my television shows tend to be, um, pretty standardized roles, and they're not so typecast, but yeah, they're what people would normally assume I could do. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's amazing. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. And something I'd like to ask about is your writing projects. You've actually written
Yeah.
Affections, Small Change, and the Janet Project.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the compelling reason to write these and get them up and running? Like, what was that thought process of like, hey, I need to put this pen to paper. I got to get this out of me.
Well, the Janet Project was a short in Los Angeles, and I was the star, baby. I had to write a piece where I could be the star. Yeah, I'm joking as always, but yeah, that was kind of the impetus. There's no stretch there. And again, she played, a woman of the night who got locked up, and it was kind of a challenge at the time. Like, oh, this will be fun. Somebody's so unlike me. And I also wrote it with friends, and we got screenings in LA at the Short Fest, and we got screenings in New York. It was great. that was a blast. And it was kind of like the first taste of kind of doing it all. I was the producer, I was, you know, the writer and the star. And it was great. And the others that I've done that you mentioned were mainly to kind of get my writing on its feet, because I've always written. I've always written. The joke in my family and in my life growing up was, you know, something's wrong and that there's really a problem if you don't get a letter from Lynette. Like, I just have always written. I have always written from the time I could, like, yeah, understand that I wanted to do anything or I wanted anything. It's like, write it down, just write it down. And I've had plays produced in New York, etc. So writing for me was always a need and a must. So outside of the Janet project, I then went on to do some other things. And now I have my first feature that is being optioned. And I have 2 series that I've written that have both just signed to international co-producers. So things are really going well in that area. My writing is some of the most fun at the moment because they're getting bites and people are interested. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah, because I mean, again, I used to have a monologue business in New York as well. So I used to write monologues for actors for pay. And, you know, talk about just doing things out of the box to make a living as an artist. That was one of the things I really did for several years. And I was really proud of that, because I'd sit down with you, Chris, and I'd say, tell me about your life. And then I'd write you a 15-minute monologue. So that was good training. And it was, you know, paid training, and you would have a unique monologue that was just for you that nobody else on the planet had. And I was really fascinated with that idea. I love the idea of original, right? Content. That's love that, really cool. That concept. Yeah.
So when we talk about going back a little bit into your history, I do have a question for you about your time at Work It Ware. You had specialized in self-empowerment coaching. I would love for you to explain to us, if you're able, what is self-empowerment coaching?
It's just that. It's exactly what I said about the monologue process. It's sitting down with you and knowing where you tick, knowing what you like. It's sort of like your first question to me: what would you be doing if you're not an actor or if you weren't in the arts? It would be analyzing who you really are, what oils your motor. And for me, that is what we all need to hone in on and optimize, is this true you-ness. What the heck is that? So that's what I do in my consultations. I focus entirely on you, and I say, let's rip all this outside stuff off. Let's peel the onion. Let's, you know, skim the milk, and really get to the heart of the person. And that's what I bring out in my work. And it's been a blast to see the difference. I have recently worked with the CEO of a company who really used to shake in her boots when it came to public speaking. And I just saw her do her first, like, sort of intro after our work together. And I was like, so proud. I'm like, my little baby is no longer nervous. Oh my gosh, she's so comfortable up there at the podium. You know, so it makes me very happy. It makes me very happy, because I'm clearly not a wallflower, but, you know, there are folks out there who need a little bit of nudging and say, like, you're fine. Everything you need is right inside of you. And my job in that work is to really shine that light and to make sure that the person sees that they're a diamond, because we all are, honey.
I love that. It's absolutely fabulous. Lynette, where can people learn more about you? Are you on social media? Do you have a website? Where can our viewers go and learn more about Lynette Ware?
I'll make sure you have the website, which is www.production.org. I'll make sure you have my tags, which is at Work It Ware, which is all across social media: LinkedIn, IG, Facebook. And my services are on Square. So, you know, you just write me wherever, DM me, whatever, if you want some one-on-ones, and I'll send you the link on where you can sign up. I'm giving free 15-minute consultations just to Chris's audience to see if it's a good fit. And then we'll book from there. And yeah, so fall discounts, the whole bit, and we can go and work on whatever you need to work on. Because the nickname was given to me in my 20s that I just know how to work it. That's where the Work It Ware comes from. And what I like about that sort of label for myself is that, yeah, there is a way that you navigate this life. And I own that title, and I own that, you know, observation of me, because from a very young age, I've understood that it needs to come from within, that the power is within, that there is nothing outside of ourselves that gets this machine going except us. So how do I help people honor that? That's what I do in my work. I get you to see where your own engines lie.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And
Yeah, of course.
certainly we'll make sure we have all those links and tags in there. And that's,
Yeah, please.
everyone out there, I really hope everyone takes advantage of that.
Yeah.
Lynette, I'd like to ask you something a little bit more personal is, if you had a magic wand, what's something you would change about the world tomorrow? If you could just,
I would end world hunger and world wars, period. End of story, no doubt. It's making us all quite insecure, quite fearful, and we're all suffering from loads of anxiety that are not of our making. Social media, I would also delete. I hate to say it, I would, because I don't like its effect on young people.
Mhm.
It's a dangerous thing when we rely more on technology than our own souls and hearts and minds to motivate us, to manage our lives, et cetera, et cetera. We are getting lazier as a human race, and we're becoming more reliant on machines, and that upsets me very deeply.
So this kind of leads me to my next question with you. Are you able to share with us something that scares you?
Yeah, man, we're going through a major strike. My union is currently on strike, SAG after strike. I am petrified of AI. I am petrified of a computer taking my likeness and yours right now, Chris, and turning our conversation into the most diabolical things that you could ever imagine us saying out of our mouths and people believing it. Chris, the world of misinformation is real. It's right here, it's right now, and it's not far-fetched in 2 seconds, once we get off this call,
Yeah.
to think that there could be, artificial intelligence that have heard our conversation and said, oh, well, you know what? We're going to make Chris say this to Lynette because he's a white man. And we're going to make Lynette say that to him because she's a Black woman. And our assumption based on what we know, because we've studied the internet, the dark web, is that Lynette would feel this way and Chris would feel that way about her and she about him. So let's start a war between them, a war of words, and just incite the internet because we know that eyeballs on them fighting is what gets the numbers up. And guess what that leads to, Chris? It leads to the man that is now at large in Maine, having maimed 16 bodies at the time of this recording. It leads to people like that getting misinformation and saying, oh, well, anybody who looks like Lynette who said anything like that against Chris is my enemy. Really? Based on what?
Yeah.
Right? Algorithms that say this is what the world needs more of. Really? That's what the world needs more of. So Chris, I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's enough of that. But like, I am adamant against where we're heading in this area. And we have to be mindful of what we give our attention to, right? What we give our attention to is where we live. It's where we
I
live.
100% agree. I think we need more tolerance, more love, and more unity in the world, and less misinformation and hate. And do your research before you decide one way or another with whatever you choose. You think your beliefs are, or what your beliefs are. Sorry, with
That's
that
right,
particular
Chris.
movement.
That's right. And Chris, know your source. That's the other thing. Like, get to the source of where your information is coming from. So, right, whether it's AP or BBC or like whatever your source is, vet it, make sure it speaks for you and that it's neutral. That I think is the best thing, that we get neutral reporting in journalism, and then make your own informed decisions. And also, I had a friend tell me like 15 years ago, like, listen to the other side. Like, just listen to people who feel the opposite so you can understand. And it was the best advice I'd ever gotten at that time. And I really would say to people that they should do the same. Listen to the other side. Understand why people want to ban books. Understand why people want to ban women's bodies. Understand why before you get outraged. I certainly, have done my homework, and you may end up feeling the same as you always have, or you might understand. Or people who love their guns. Why do they love their guns so much? Let's understand this before we say what we say. And you may end up like me with the same strong feelings, but you better believe, about what you believe, but when it comes to democratic rights, et cetera, but you better believe people who feel the opposite feel just as strong as they do.
Right.
And that's why, we're having a hard time right now. I think the extremities are getting a little much. I'm trying to walk what I walk, which is to read and understand all sides. And I definitely can say I've done that. And it makes me a more informed decision maker. But yeah, we have to do the work ourselves. We can't be ignorant and complicit. Right.
Well said.
Mhm.
And Lynette, I have time for one last question for
Okay.
you. And it's a super happy question, of course. And
Okay.
that's, what makes Lynette smile?
Dance, music, and my children. So come on, let's do this. Okay, wait. Dance, music, and my children. So come on, let's do this. Okay, wait. We have to do this. We have to go out on my favorite song. Come on. So Alexa, play Stan Walker's Light Beam for Chris. Bye.
We on an ocean line, babe. We on
Bye,
an ocean line,
Chris.
babe. This is
Ladies
a
and
God
gentlemen, it's been
dream.
an
This is a
absolute pleasure with
God
Lynette Ware. Thank you so much for your
dream.
time. Everyone out there, remember to smile to inspire and have a fantastic day.
This is
Thank you.
everything. We on an ocean line, babe. We on an ocean line, babe. This is a God dream. This is a God dream. Yeah. This is everything. Yeah. Deliver us serenity. Deliver us peace. Deliver us loving. You know we need it. Yeah. That's why we need you now. Oh, I pray for the world. Pray for the parents. This is a God dream. Yeah. This is a God dream. We on an ocean line, babe. We on an ocean line, babe. This is a God dream. This is a God dream. This is everything. Everything. I'm trying to keep my faith, but I'm looking for more. Somewhere I can feel safe and in my holy war. I'm just trying to keep my faith. So why's in the pressure not blessing? Why did you do me wrong? You persecute the weak because it makes you feel so strong. Don't have much strength to fight, so I look up to the light to make these wrongs turn right. Head up high, I look to the light, 'cause I know that you make everything right, and I know that you'll take good care of your child. Oh, no longer am I afraid of the night, 'cause I look to the light. They come for you, I will shield your name. I will feel their questions, I will feel your pain. They don't know. We on an ocean line, babe. We on an ocean line, babe. This is a God dream. This is a God dream. Yeah. This is everything. Yeah. That's why we need you now. Pray for the world. Pray for the world. We need a God dream. Stop all the fighting. Too many people dying. We need love, peace, and healing. This is my God dream.